Hello everyone. Well, I got a request to do an update on my Saddleback leather bag. So now that I've had it about maybe a month or two, I wanted to show you how I've learned how to pack it the best way, and also to show you how it's gotten better actually. It's stretched out a little bit. It's a little bit more flexible than it was when I first got it. This is a really great bag, and it is just getting better and better the more I use it. So you can probably see if you have this on your high definition screen or mode. There's a few little wear marks as I've been using it, but nothing that has been tremendous or terrible. It is holding up very well to daily use. There's a few things here, but I think that actually kind of gives it some character. And I think the more and more I use it, as long as it's not a big gouge or something, I kind of like these little variations in the color from just little bumps and scratches. The first thing is this back pocket here, which you can see is perfect for my iPad. And this is probably the most part that's gotten use, or gotten the most use, is this part where I'm reaching in and just kind of rubbing up against the leather. Even though I keep my fingernails very short, they still sometimes will scratch just a little bit. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I really like it. So this, when I first put my iPad in here, it was a tight fit. I had to actually push it down in there. But it has since stretched out the pocket just enough where I can slip it in very easily and take it out very easily as well. So I don't know that I would put anything bigger than that in here. I know that it would stretch, definitely. You could put a fairly good sized book in there, and this leather would eventually stretch out to accommodate it. But it might get kind of floppy if you did that. But for an iPad, I think it's perfect. Or any kind of small tablet or something like that, or even a thin book or a notepad or something like that. So that has been very handy and convenient. I keep my iPad on the outside. It is almost completely covered when I do it, and I have immediate access to it whenever I need it. I prop this up in the front seat of my car, and I have my iPad in here, and I have it plugged into my radio, and I actually can play the songs, and I can keep it all right in here, and I know that it's I know where it is when I need to go. I just unplug the audio headphone jack and pick up my bag and go. So this part here with the strap has definitely loosened up. About the first week of using it, it was really tough to get unbuckled because the leather was so stiff. But now this has been very pliable. It's very easy to unbuckle it, and I imagine it'll just continue to get easier and easier as the leather stretches out to accommodate the use. So this is how I pack the bag. You can tell you can fit a lot of stuff in here, especially full-size textbooks. This is where I keep all of my teaching material, and I can keep the books for both of my classes that I teach, and each class has about 2-3 books of varying sizes, and I keep this divider in here, so I keep all the textbooks up front, and then all of the grading books and all of the notes for the class, and this notebook back here. So this is a full-size 8.5 by 11 notebook, and it fits sideways perfectly and fills out fills out the bag very nicely. Turn it like that, you can see it better. The one thing that I did modify when I started packing this is I put the larger books in the back and I put the smaller books in the front, and they all fit, but I noticed that down here at the bottom of the bag, with the smaller books, it tended to want to roll a little bit and almost push out just this small part where the smaller book was, and it wasn't as stable when it was sitting up. This part wanted to bend in around that small book. So what I did is I just reversed the order of the books. So the larger books are in the front, and that fills out this part a lot better and makes it more stable. And it also keeps the corners of the smaller book from poking through eventually. I think if I did that for a few months or even a year, keeping the same consistent size book here, you might start to see some wear marks. So I keep the larger books in here to span across and put the edges of the books closer to the seams of the bag. And that seems to make the bag a lot more stable. I like the fact that I can set this bag up and take my hands away and it stays up, right? And does not want to fall over and slump or something like that. So that has been a tremendous time saver, because I can just put it beside me, have the top open on the desk or beside my chair, and I can just reach in and get what I want. I don't have to set the bag up, reorient it, just to kind of get into it. I have here in this pocket, here, let me take some things out. I think that'll help. My grade book. Notebook, books for the class. Okay. So I don't know if you can see down in there any easier. The pocket for holding the pens is on this side, and it works very well. It's a nice height from here. I just conveniently reach in and pull out the pins that I need. And I don't have it on here now, but on this clip I keep a USB drive clipped to it, and that seems to work very well. It's very convenient. I don't lose it down inside of here or have to put it down inside of another pocket. I can just clip it onto here and have it accessible. The bag itself has loosened up quite a bit. These sides are a lot more flexible and stretchy, so that taking the books in and out is not nearly as hard as it was at the very beginning. They filled out the space nicely and stretched it just enough that it works really well. And we have this other pocket over here, and I just have some extra shoestring in there, and I'll show you what I do with that in a second. And then this, still the same, just a nice convenient divider. I can see it has some scratches, over here from books going in and out. But I usually just leave it in there right like that, so I don't take it out very much. So let me put this back here. So, and you can see there's some little, this used to be completely smooth before it was used, obviously, but little stretches here and there, and the weight of the bag as it sits on the ground has changed how these corners work. But again, not in a bad way. This is a bag that's being used, and it's adapting to me as I use it, and it's stretching to accommodate what I need it to do, which is exactly what I enjoy about it. Still have the same side pockets. I put my sunglasses in here, and In this one I have an extra shoulder pad that came with the bag, and I just stick it in there in case I ever need it. The bottom of the bag has these 2 D-rings on either side. So 2 here and 2 here. And I have a shoelace that is holding them together. And I used this when I went on a trip, and I was able to tie on my tripod, which I'm currently using to shoot this video. So I couldn't show you how it goes on. But this is just some old shoelaces that I found. And, well, they're new shoelaces, but they weren't being used. And I simply tied one end to this D-ring, and then I put in whatever I need here, like the tripod, or maybe an umbrella, or I don't know, whatever long cylindrical thing you might need. And then I just loop this around, and I loop it back through here, like that, and that pulls it tight however I need it, and then I just tie it off. So this is a great way to store things underneath the bag, and it was very convenient. It tied very well. I didn't have to worry about it coming undone. It was very secure. Both of these did an excellent job at holding on the tripod. And it's not a very light tripod, it's an old one, so it was fairly substantial and heavy, and they worked perfectly well. The weight of the bag, when it's full of books, it is heavy. I don't know the exact weight of it, but it was really no more heavier than the cloth bag I was using before, because the majority of the weight is obviously the books or the computer or whatever you have in it. The weight of the bag itself, when it's empty, is not a big problem for me. Like I said, you're going to fill it up with heavy books probably anyway. You're not going to notice the difference between using this bag and a cloth bag when you're carrying around, 25, 30 pounds of books. So that has been just as comparable to the cloth bag that I was using. The one thing that does make it easier, though, is having this nice broad shoulder strap and this nice sturdy part of the strap, and then the broad padding, I guess you would call this. This stays on my shoulder. With the cloth bag that I was using before, it had a cloth strap here, and over time it would fold and it would roll and it would become like this tube, even though it had a padding similar to this. And then the padding was cloth too, and it would fold around the roll, and it would basically just be this cylinder I was trying to keep on my shoulder, and it was constantly trying to fall off, and I was constantly having to readjust it. With this leather strap, it stays flat. This stays conformed to my shoulder, and it stays put. The only time I've struggled with it once or twice is when I had a very heavy, thick coat on, which kind of bulks up my shoulders and makes my shoulders, rounder, softer with the big coat. And so I've had to adjust it a few times with that, but with a light jacket or just a shirt, it stays solid on my shoulder, and it frees up my other hand that I have the bag attached to. I can reach out and I can open a door, and I don't have to worry about the bag falling off my shoulder and slipping down to my elbow and putting a strain on that suddenly. Sometimes it's pretty jolting when you have 25, 30 pounds of books suddenly crash down on your elbow or the crook of your arm. So I have thoroughly enjoyed that part of this bag. You put it on your shoulder and it's going to stay there. You don't hardly have to adjust it at all, maybe just once or twice. And I walk across campus with this. I walk for about probably 15 minutes when I'm done with teaching my classes and walking back to my car. And it stays put. I just, adjust it once or twice. I'm not constantly having to fiddle with it and trying to keep it on my shoulder. So I give this bag a serious recommendation. I really, really like it. I like it more and more every day that I use it. And I'm really liking it now that it's stretching out and is taking on some character of how I would use it. And it's like molding itself to exactly the type of use that I need to perform with it. So I hope this is informative. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I pack it and use it. I may do another update maybe after I've had it for a year so you can see how it is wearing. This has been about, I guess, 2 months of wear. Every day I take it, or most days, every work day, I take it with me to work and open it up and use it, and it's holding up fantastically. It only has a few minor little rub places on it, and again, I kind of like that. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will be making more videos for you guys. And you can also check out the contest that I'm running. If you look on my channel at the video of cleaning an antique radio, while I'm cleaning the radio, I also am talking about the contest that I'm running. I'm giving away some download codes for an ASMR mobile app for the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod Touch. So go look at that video and get all the details for that. Okay? Thanks guys for watching. See you later. Bye.